to begin, but it's important to note that there are a lot of countries that are watching it quite closely. You look at Nigeria, as well as Tanzania, as well as Ghana, some of the countries that have been watching quite closely what is taking place here. If you look at the US as well, they've complained and they've spoken about the fact that they strongly condemn these criminal acts perpetrated by individuals inciting violence and potentially exploiting socio-economical conditions. So we are, of course, watching it quite closely as well to understand what is it that is being taken to the union buildings. And of course, we are joined by the MACH founder, and we're just going to listen in as she speaks.
Make sure that the government is held accountable for putting us in the situation that we're in. I mean, South Africa at the moment is a fertile ground for criminals from all over the world, not just in South Africa. And we can't have a situation where we feel safe and unsafe in our own country and our government relaxes and thinks that it's a normal time just because they want to appease the rest of the world and look good to God knows who. That they want to look good too, because we know we're not the ones that are sitting in high walls with blue lights and living a comfortable life. They are. So we are not going to be comfortable in this life that we're living anymore, and we're going to take a stand, as we had mentioned before, because illegal immigration has caused such a huge problem for many South Africans in this country.
What's your message to the minister? He's going to be briefing the media later on this afternoon. You've also received a lot of criticism around the fact that it seems that this movement is xenophobic.
So which minister is briefing the media?
Schreider, the Home Affairs Minister.
Look, I think we've spoken enough with the Home Affairs Department. We've got many and plenty of engagements with them. And I mean, I don't expect anyone who's criticizing us to be sitting at home and not doing anything. If they're going to be criticizing South Africans, then they must do something about the South Africans that are dying from spaza shop killings, where the mafia now wants to take over Ethiopians and Pakistanis. If they're criticizing us, then they must be willing to do something about the South African children that are dying because of food that is consumed at these spaza shops. If they're criticizing us, they need to be doing something about the people dying in hospitals because there's no beds and there's no medication, because people from all across the African continent are coming here and walking in and demanding services. They must also do something about the South African children who don't have a spot in schools. And they must also do something about the many factories and places that are hiring illegal immigrants for cheap labor instead of hiring South Africans. And all of this money and the economy that's going to the hands of foreigners instead of South Africans. So if they want to criticize us, fair, but do it while you're doing something as well about the crisis that we're facing.
So what do you make of what Guterres has been saying?
What's happening, and how they should perhaps join the movement?
South Africans. Look, I think South Africans who want to be part of the movement, who understand the pain that we're going through, are actually joining. They're making their voices heard. I mean, we're coming under attack from all across Africa for standing up for ourselves. And the quickest thing that they do, these other people from outside of South Africa, is to label us as xenophobic. People who are not even in South Africa, who don't even know what we're going through, they don't want to listen to what we're complaining about. Because, I mean, we've lived with people from outside of Africa, South Africa actually, for 32 years. 32 years, in millions and millions of them. But if you walk right down the road, you'll find that they now are taking over buildings. There's prostitution, there's drugs, there's cartels, there's mafias. Everything in this country is a fertile ground for criminals to thrive. So we're not getting the best of the best when it comes to immigrants. We're getting those immigrants who are running away from their countries because they know that they are criminal elements. And our government is just letting them be because they want to paint them as victims. They're not victims.
Cinda, how are you determining that these are illegal foreigners? Because, I mean, we know that already last week, General Mkhwanazi did say that there needs to be a way to verify, but how do you verify?
Well, it's not our job to verify, but when we're marching, when we're doing operations, there's always the police. It's their job to ask people for their papers, and if they don't have papers, then obviously they're illegal. And we've had a number of people, every single place that we go that is a hub for foreigners, there's tons of illegal. Very few of these people are documented, actually. Very, very few. And the ones that are documented are not behaving and carrying themselves in this manner that these that are not documented are. And that is the problem that we have today, is that everyone is being grouped with the same type of banner. When we talk about illegal immigrants, nobody wants to hear the part about illegal. You all just want to say foreigners and xenophobia and whatnot. We are talking about people who crossed the border or who flew here with no documents and then started building a life for themselves. We don't know these people. We don't know their background. We don't know what type of crimes they're running away from in their country. But we're supposed to just integrate with those people and life must carry on, because if we don't, then we're xenophobic. There's nothing xenophobic about wanting law and order in your own country. And this thing of calling us xenophobic is not going to work anymore, unfortunately, because we don't care what you label us. We really don't care. Call us whatever you want to call us, but South Africa is not going to die at the extent of people trying to tell us what to do in our own country to make sure that it's surviving and it thrives for the future of this country.
So what do you make then of the criticism that you're only targeting black African foreigners?
Look, I don't think criticism is abnormal. Criticism is normal. But like I said, anyone who's criticizing us, criticize us with something in hand. You can't just say we're targeting black people. It's not about skin color. It's about having papers. So if you can take this argument of black, orange, and pink aside, what other argument are you giving us for us to keep these people in our country? Why must we be the only country that is infested with illegal immigrants? And you're telling us it's because they're African. Which other African country allows South Africans like us to just walk in and say, hey, look at me, I'm black, so I'm African, so let me into your country, let me have a spaza shop, let me start selling drugs in your country because I'm black?
Your reaction to Guterres?
The
reaction to the fact that this could potentially sporadically grow from here, from Antonio Guterres?
Look, it has to grow. That's the only way. If the government is not listening, then it has to grow. And the sentiments on the ground are that people are fed up. And they're not fed up, once again, I repeat, with the foreigners only. It's with our government, whose lack of planning, whose inability to actually come up with strategies to make the situation better, and they're moving at a snail pace. This is not normal migration. I say this all the time. What we're currently facing in South Africa is not normal migration.
Thank you very much, Jacinda. Well, that's Jacinda, one of the MACH and MACH founder, Michelle.
All right, Mobile, thanks for that update. And when we return here on Newsfeed AM, we'll take you back to Pretoria and to our colleague Zola Shulwana, who is at a different angle on the same story. Do stay with us. Black advocacy group MACH and MACH is taking grievances to the doorstep of government. The group plans to deliver a memorandum of demands at the union buildings in Pretoria, calling for South Africans to be prioritized in employment opportunities and for the removal of undocumented foreign nationals. Let's take you live to my colleague Zola Shulwana, who is also part of our team tracking the story. Zola, good morning. Just yesterday at the official Freedom Day commemorations in Bloemfontein, President Cyril Ramaphosa had some strong words on the eve of this march about the risks of xenophobia.
Well, yes, indeed, Michelle. But when you speak to some of the founding members and, of course, leading voices of this march, they refuse to, affiliate it with xenophobic attacks, with them essentially saying that all they are doing is defending their country against illegal immigrants. And I am joined by one of the leading voices of the march. We have seen him in different provinces, standing firm at his stance against illegal immigration. And of course, we also have political parties that are present and are, throwing their weight, supporting this march, which is the Action SA and the MK Party. But let's speak to Ngizwe Mchunu about his participation today. Ngizwe, thank you very much for your time. You've been one of the, people that have been in the forefront of this march in different provinces. What do you think is going to work besides these protests that we have been seeing happening across the country by MACH and MACH?
We will see all the foreigners that are illegal in this country packing their bags and go. And we will see them also bowing and respecting the rule of law of this country, because this is not just a country engenamthetho. Umthetho ukhona kuleli izwe, inkinga usetshenziswa. Sasuke sakhuleka kakhulu kusukela ngo-1994 la ubone khona abantu beyingenele umathanda from Nelson Mandela evulela abantu bangaphandle ukuthi bengene nomathanda waze waganwa khona futhi emazweni angaphandle. Namanje ke sonjalo ke sithi cha nganza kwethu esicela ukulungisa inkinga zasekhaya. Can we fix our own problems peacefully? because lokho abakwenza kuleli izwe 100% sure and guaranteed ukuthi in their own countries they can never allow such thing to happen. I remember one day kuthiwe so thola visa on arrival in Nigeria ngangaba nonkosikazi wami, that was 2016. Sajika eKenya ngoba ivisa singakwazanga ukuyithola, yabona, ngoba umthetho wakhona uqinile. Leli izwe elinjani elivumela wonke umuntu. Ngeke ngakhuluma udaba la izolo ukuthi izolo akekho umuntu ongafika sama nomfowethu ndabandaba ongafika emzini wendoda yakhile bese efike elala nezingane zakhona zonke ezimithisa zonke, akafiki nemfazi, akafiki namuntu, kungabi indaba zalutho. Asike lapho izingane zakhona azenze zibe ngomahosha futhi adayise nezidakamizwa, ngoba inhloso yabo ukuthi bazi-organize kanje emveni kweminyaka nje mhlawumbe u-10 kuya 20 leli izwe bafuna ukulithatha kube ngelabo. That is their ultimate goal.
How do you ensure that your participation does not fuel xenophobia?
Is not at all xenophobic. Amanga lawa kanjwa abantu abayizahluleki. When you have failed, you just point things around. There's no xenophobic, there's no racism, there is no tribalism. Here we are one thing. As we are here in Pretoria, from KwaZulu-Natal, thina sinosinga lwempi, usinga lwempi sithi ke obaba omkhulu bethu nokhokho bethu abanqobe sandwana akabebe nathi kulombhidlango idolobha nedolobha South Africa, every corner of South Africa. Can everyone stand up? We need ophakela umthakathi ongizwe no Jacinta to make sure that we clean up and sweep all the provinces and all our cities, because all cities are looted as a result of these illegal immigrants that are here in our own country.
Thank you very much.
Can our government listen to us? Listen to us. We are angry and we are tired and we are fearless.
Thank you very much. That is Yizo Mkunu, of course, showing his frustration. I'm going to ask my colleague to show you some members of political parties that have thrown their weight as well to back up this march, to essentially say that they are against illegal immigration. And we will be, of course, monitoring this march, as this is the meeting point heading to the union buildings where the memorandum will be submitted. Back to you, studio.